Hello there, guys. Welcome back to Younes Talks Chelsea. I hope all of you are doing well today as we are landing another bomber, should we say. If you didn't catch yesterday's video, I am going to link it in the corner on that side. I can't put my arm out because we've got two gents on the screen here, but go and check out the video that myself and Johnny done yesterday that has debunked one of the biggest myths in this entire fan base. And there is going to be a follow-up to that video tomorrow because there is a little bit more that we do need to say on it. So make sure you're there. But for today's video, I'm glad to be joined by, well, we've actually done this once before, but it was on your channel, Johnny. And I am going to also link that over in the top right-hand corner from a year and a half ago, where we all got together for the first time talking about Blueco and the ownership at Strasbourg. So this time as a follow-up with what's happening now, and we're seeing exactly how everyone's affected and now we know what needs to be done. And I think it's Blueco out for everybody. Johnny is back on. Welcome back. Glad you're well. And also joining Alex, representing the Federation of the Strasbourg supporters. Good to have you on board, and you're going to give us a very good explanation on the things on the Strasbourg side. How have you guys been affected by Blueco? So I want to say welcome to you. How are you?
I'm very good. Hello, thank you for having me here. I'm very pleased to be able to speak to you and to speak to all the Chelsea fans, to give some explanations and explain the many similarities between the Strasbourg situation and the Chelsea situation under this terrible ownership. I fully agree with you. Look out, and I hope that many people will show up on April the 18th in London.
Well, talking about the protests and starting there, we can start there. We know that on your end, you've agreed and done something unprecedented. It's something that all of us on our end are really, really, really happy to see is going to be happening. And that's a lot of you guys are going to be flying over to London to join the Blueco out protest on the Chelsea end at Stamford Bridge on the 18th against Man United. I mean, firstly, if you want to give some clarity on the workings and how that's all going to be going on the day. I know there was a rumor. We did address that there's a rumor there was going to be 30 of you, but if you want to give your opinion on your side, on the Blueco outside from the Strasbourg end for this protest and what it means for you guys as well.
Well, yeah, thank you. I mean, there's some clarity needed. How it happened is actually quite simple. We've been getting in touch with many Chelsea fans, and at some point we identified a group of Chelsea fans who were also staging a protest back in January, in the same weekend when we had our own protest against the game against Metz, and I think you guys, it was a game against Brentford, and your game was on Saturday, and our game was on Sunday. And actually, at the time, some people from the ultras in Strasbourg were already considering flying to London back in January and making up back to Strasbourg for our game on Sunday. But since we had our own protest to organize, it was kind of complicated, so we ended up deciding that we would not be doing that. But we have kept in touch, and when they decided that they wanted to do something, they reached to us, and the question was twofold. First question is what we have to reach a date which suits both fan bases. And then the second thing was we need to make it happen. So why is it on the April of 18th, and why was it announced on Friday? Well, the reason is simple. We were waiting for our game against Rijeka last Thursday, because if we qualified for the Conference League quarterfinals, that meant that it was sure that our game against Rennes was going to be on the Sunday, on the 19th of April, which meant that we can fly to London. So that's why we decided to wait until the result of this game. I know that a lot of people on the Chelsea side were saying after the huge defeat against PSG, for example, we need to organize a protest right now. But the guys from Another Project CFC, they were waiting for us to confirm that we would actually be in London on the Saturday. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is obviously there's a bit of logistics involved. So we had to get people on our side. And the figure that has been mentioned, 30, is correct, but you need some perspective on that. It's not 30 people from Strasbourg. The 30 people are actually the people who committed themselves before it was made public, so that not a project CFC sees that, okay, we are doing things. I mean, I will be using one of your favorite expressions, Johnny. We are lending our minerals. We're saying before it's public. Okay, there's 30 of us. We've already booked our flights. We've already booked our hotels, and we are building from that. So we are trying to get as many people on board. As I mentioned offline, I'm on a WhatsApp conversation, yet another one, and every time I see +1, +2, etc., etc. So we are trying to get as many people on board, knowing that London is not a cheap city. So we are talking about people who are spending a decent sum of money just to come for a protest before a match that they want to attend, and then come back on the Sunday morning so that they can attend our game against Rennes. So it's actually quite a feat. The exact figure in the end, I don't know. Nobody knows. But what's important there is the dynamic, and to have a dynamic, you have to stay positive. So that's what we are doing. We are saying, come on. On our side, we are saying to all the people, the Chelsea fans, they are furious. They're going to show in numbers. So let's come, let's help them. And let's make sure that we get heard, because we know that everything that we do that reaches an audience in the English-speaking world has 10 times more influence than when we do what we do on the local side. So that's why we are doing that. We are working a lot on that. There are some guys from the Ultras. They are trying to bring as many of them as they can. And it involves very practical things. I mean, you have to explain to people how they can get an ETA. You have to share some Airbnbs and so on. So we are doing that right now. And you might not see many things online, but that's because on our side, it's not online. I mean, it's about people speaking to their mates, trying to get them on board. So yeah, we are doing full gas, everything we can. I will be there, obviously. Maxime, the leader from the Ultras, he will be there. Many of the nucleus from the Ultras will be there. So it's a decent bunch, well organized, people who know each other, and who really, really, really care about this fight against our owner.
Amazing.
Listen, I want to say, Younes, yeah, salute to you, Alex, yeah, salute to all the Strasbourg Ultras, yeah, because I tell you what, it's a massive, massive statement. This is a collaboration. We're both uniting. We both have the same message, which is Blueco out. Both our clubs have been decimated, destroyed. The fact that you're all coming, paying out your own pocket, shows just how much you are determined to get Blueco out. Like, I don't think people understand the level of determination there. That is elite mentality, and that is the mentality that Chelsea fan base needs. You know,
Agreed.
It's starting now, but we all need to unite. We all need to have that mentality, an ultra mentality of they can sell, we can get them out. They've killed our club. They're lying to us with the PR. Everything's been a lie for 4 years, and it's unacceptable. So yeah, salute to all of you, and I would love to meet you, Alex. Of course, I'll be there, and to meet the Ultras, have it right, and you will be landing minerals with us, 100%.
Thank you.
No, it's quite a feat to be able to get however many is going to be ending up there on the day is huge. So yeah, credit to all of them. And to give some context as well, the Strasbourg fans, you have 4 groups, 4 individual Strasbourg supporter groups that have come together throughout this entire thing to land one unified message of Blueco out, correct? And
that has been even more the case since last September, because well, we have a fan base which is split, just like us, and it has been, we have been fighting Blueco ever since they came in, but things have escalated, and one big step was what happened back in September. I mean, for Chelsea fan, maybe it was not a big event, but for us it was big. You might remember when the Emmanuel Emega deal was announced. So he was posing on Instagram with a Chelsea shirt outside of any transfer window, saying, "I'm going to join Chelsea next year," and he's actually our team captain. So for us,
Yeah.
it was an outrage, and we reacted to that, and we said, well, you know what? Can't take it anymore. That's not possible. And at that time, we broke a taboo. We said, Mark Keller, which is our historical club president, you have to resign. He was there before Blueco. He sold Blueco, and then he stayed. And the narrative back then was that he would be protecting Strasbourg's interest. And it's obvious that he does not. He does not. He's just a yes man to the owner, just like everybody. And so we did that. We sent a manifesto saying this is just, you can't take that. It's not possible. And Mark, you know what? Thank you for all you did. We wrote that. We said thank you for everything you did, but right now you gotta resign. You gotta go. And that created an outrage. I mean, just I wouldn't have expected, but all of a sudden the whole region, Alsace region was against us because we dared to attack the local heroes. So press, the general public, everybody was against us, like big shitstorm. There were like people from the business and local elites. They even signed a statement of support to Mark Keller, the mayor of Strasbourg. The mayor of Strasbourg. She signed that statement. You know, poor Mark Keller, he's being harassed by a bunch of radical weirdos, ultras, and so on. So it was a huge shitstorm. But the four organizations, we stayed together. We said, okay, no problem. You can say whatever you want. We have a clear message. We know what we are saying. I mean, we're not saying that lightheartedly, lightly. It's something that we have been reflecting on. And the truth is, Strasbourg is no longer an independent operating football club. It is just Chelsea's B team. I mean, you just can't deny it anymore. And so when that happened, it's actually it had the immense advantage of bonding us together even more. And now we are all four organizations. I mean, these are very different organizations. I mean, the Ultras, you know them. It's about animating the stadium. It's about flares. It's about banners. And they are the one that are the most visible. And for example, if you take me on my side, my organization, we don't even do anything in the stadium. We're not active in the stadium. We are doing things outside of the stadium. At the beginning, we're just a bunch of nerds writing about articles about club history and club culture. We are not professional demonstrators and so on. And you have different kind of groups, but they stick together because we love racing. We love the history of this club, which has been demoted back to the 5th division and went back to the top flight because it had a strong fan culture, very strong, and a sense of local identity. We cheer for our local football club, not because it is the best in the world or whatever, but because it's our club. It's our grandfather brought us in, and we bring our grandchildren in. It's here to stay. It's for us. It's like it's 24/7, and I think it's a big difference between all the people who work for Blueco. For them, it's a 9 to 5 job. In the end, they don't really care. They have a lot of money, they have a lot of power, but in the end, they don't really care. On our side, we are very weak, but for us, it's 24/7. I mean, we just like you. We live racing, we breathe racing, and when we see that the club is being treated that way, obviously we will react, and we will try to stage protests, and we will try to alert. We will try to spread the message that this ownership is going nowhere, and that has caused us a lot of trouble locally, because locally the owner through Mark Keller is very powerful. But things have changed a lot since January, since the whole Rose in Your Story, because what we had been saying for months is now obvious to everyone, and that has led to quite a shock locally. And we actually, now the tide has turned. We see people coming to us saying, "Sounds like you were right," and I'm like, "Yeah, obviously we're right."
Yeah,
sounds like me.
It's validation.
Validation. I'll say this, Alex. Yeah, there is a complete correlation, because our club, like yours, has been stripped of all DNA, of all culture, The fabric of the club, the history of the club is not recognised, except they want to abuse it. With us, they want to abuse it and use the heritage and the success as a brand to money make off us and make profit over the amount of years they want to keep us for, 10 years or whatever. But with you guys, I see you lot like, it's like you're an academy to Chelsea. And I don't mean that in disrespect, but that's how they're treating you. They're treating you as an academy, a farming club. Like Maresca gets sacked. Oh, Liam Rosner's there. Yeah, perfect. Face of Blueco.
Yeah.
Let's promote him up and we'll negotiate with ourselves. Oh, what's the deal, Iqbali? Iqbali says, we're going to pay out 4 million for Liam Rosner. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Sarr coming to us, Santos. You know, you're not building anything at Strasbourg. Like, but the thing is, we're not building anything at Chelsea. No. It's the same model and fabric of Blueco. Their DNA is now being infiltrated into our football clubs. So we're both having the same issues. And it's no coincidence. It's just the PR covers it all. The PR mask, we're building. We're buying these players. And for Strasbourg, these players are going to be for Strasbourg for 2-3 years. And it's the biggest fugazi going. And this is the thing, like, you lot, from day one, pretty much like myself, it's been like, this ain't right. And we know what you're up to and we know what you're doing. And the fact that you've got 4 organisations that all play a role and you're all united with the same mentality, you want the same end result, is what we haven't had at Chelsea, because they've used the PR to create a divide and conquer tactic. So there's always a divide in the fan base. There's always a debate. And then you have mixed in with that journalists that dictate the narrative of the ownership. Then you've got the YouTube accounts that are big and influencers. Then you've got the aggregators on the social media platforms who push the Blueco narrative of this toxic positivity and to manipulate an entire fan base. And they manipulate with Chelsea. You're in dire need of a rebuild under Don Roman. What? What?
Yeah, well, I can tell you a funny story about that, about the PR and the way they treat the media is very interesting. They are obsessed with the media and they are pressuring journalists and doing PR in Strasbourg, just like when they do in London. So I can give you an example, which is kind of funny. Back in September, we had a game against Marseille, and that was when we were at the peak of the crisis. So for that game, the Ultras decided, you know what? We are not gonna sing the whole game. It's like 100% silent.
You went quiet.
It was a big game. It was against Marseille. Yeah. And what we did is, because Marc Keller was stupid enough to make a press conference about us, we made one about him to announce, because everybody was thinking, what are they going to do the next game after Marc Keller has made a whole press conference saying these guys are bad? So what we did is we did our own press conference, because then the press has to come. Well, so we do this thing. We say, okay, we're going to be silent the game against Marseille. Let's see if the rest of the public, which is supposedly with you and so on, let's see what they do. And what they did at that time is that they panicked. They panicked because they knew that the stadium was going to be silent for the whole game. Because if the Ultras don't do the job, no one is cheering, no one is chanting, no one is applauding. So somebody at the club had this very stupid idea to hire 3 guys from a comedy show to try to cheer.
No way.
No.
So they hired these guys.
Clownery.
And it was awful. They didn't even know the chance. And on top of that, they were stupid. It's all over the internet, you can find it. They were stupid enough to post a selfie with their accreditations on, with a badge that gives them access all areas to the stadium, and obviously brand new home kit. Just I think it even had the label on still. So this comes in the internet, this comes in on Twitter, and it's a Sunday. But it's getting viral on our scale, which is smaller than your scale, but still I think it's like 100,000 views on Twitter and so on. So obviously the press has to do something about that. And the first media outlet that broke this story is the local radio station here in Strasbourg. And what happens is it's a Sunday, so there's not many people at the radio station, and they have actually one journalist who is like on duty, but she's not about football. She does everything. I mean, if there is a car crash or the weather or politics or whatever, she does whatever comes on the Sunday. So she does that, and she posts an article, and she calls the club to verify the information. She's just doing her job as a journalist. And I met her a few months after that, and she's a very lovely lady in her 50s, very quiet, very calm. She just, at first, she doesn't give a shit. But then when she posted this article telling the story about them hiring the comedy show to try to cheer instead of us and being miserable, she was getting harassed with people from the club calling her bosses, saying, who's that lady? I mean, what is she doing here? Whatever. They were actually trying to fire her, to have her out. And I spoke with her a couple of months after, and she as I said, she's in her 50s, and she has seen quite a lot. She has been in many radio stations, and she said, I have never seen that in my life. Never, ever.
Wow.
And they have, we've been seeing that for months. It never happened before. Before that, I mean, sometimes we had some quarrels. We did not agree on everything, but mostly it stayed inside. And we had there was a lot of mutual respect. And we know that the people who are actually Strasbourg people who still work at the club, they wouldn't do that to us because they never did before. But since Blueco took over, everything has changed. And we get treated, I mean, almost like criminals, just for trying to speak out. And so we've had dozens of such episodes where they are trying to restrict what is basic freedom of speech, and that's, I think it's important to recognize for an English audience, because, and especially when we think about the protests in April, on April the 18th, is they wouldn't do that if they didn't care.
Yeah.
Every time we do something, they try to respond.
Of course.
Correct.
It's a few hundred of us. We are very active. We are very organized. But every time we do something, they try to respond, either by harassing us or by putting up some PR on their side or whatever. So that means that what we do, what we say, what we are actually doing right now has an impact. And if people are wondering, should I come up on April the 18th? When you get the answer, they care. If you can make a difference. I mean, if there's 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, that makes a difference. Because the more we are, the more the message gets heard. It gets heard in England, and maybe it gets listened to on the other side of the Atlantic, where it also counts. So what I'm seeing here in Strasbourg, we have one big advantage on you guys, is it is smaller. So we still have some direct contact with the football club. We know the local media, we know the local gossip, because it's a small city. But I can tell you, and believe me, I've dozens of such episodes to prove you that the ownership really cares about their reputation. They really care about what's being written about them. And actually, I even asked the question to Markela myself, because I've been in meetings with him at some point. And at some point, I remember one meeting at the end, I asked him, well, do the owners know what we are doing or discussing and so on? And I was thinking, well, he's going to deny it. I mean, he's going to stick to his narrative that he's the one in control and that he's the one doing it. And he actually said to me, yeah, we inform them, they are interested in it, and so on. So he didn't deny it, which on his side means a lot, because he's very, very, very wary of his image, of his public image. So if even him admits that they have interest in us, I mean, obviously they are obsessed with what is going to happen on April the 18th. So for every Chelsea fan, for everybody who cares actually about football, you gotta shop. You gotta shop. It can make a difference. I mean, we are coming from France. We're trying to get as many people on board. But for this to function, we also need the English fans to come. And if you live in London, if you live in Greater London, if you live in England, I mean, it's time to put your money where your mouth is and come to London on April 18th to show that you don't want that you want Blueco out, just like we do.
Right.
Because then both football clubs, they can go their way. We can be separate as we were before. Everybody will go their way. I will sure have some sympathy for Chelsea fans the rest of my life. But apart from that, I mean, it's two different stories. Chelsea is a story. Strasbourg is a story. The two should never have been in the same pond, in the same ownership. And I'm really hoping for that. And I'm trying to be optimistic because at times it's difficult. I mean, at times when you see all the power and the money you have, you can get at some time frustrated and so on. But in the end, I still see light. I still see, well, if we hurt their reputation, which is something very precious for them, we can get them out. I'm pretty sure. So people need to show up.
Can I? And that's facts. I want to say this, right?
Yep.
Younes, you know me, bruv, on my channel. How many times I've been shadow banned to silence me? All right.
Yeah.
You know how many times I've been suppressed. I've been blocked by Iqbali on his Twitter account. He's blocked my Twitter account, but apparently he doesn't know who I am. All right.
Yeah.
They have sent bin bags into Chelsea, into Cobham, with suits and boots, taking all their staff and employees and all their belongings to check for any leaks because they don't want free speech. They eradicate free speech. They don't want any leaks. They don't want anything that can tarnish their image because all the PR masks the truth. The truth, what they're really doing, they don't want out. So they PR you what they want you to hear so that you buy into it and it allows them to continue with this disgraceful, what I call an Epstein FC model, yeah? Now, the fact is, when you talk about their image, the image is where we hurt them and we hurt their pockets properly. Because when you damage their image fully, the investors behind them are going to get cold feet. And they're going to say, you're 4 years in, you spent 2 billion,
Stop
you're in
panicking.
debt,
Yeah.
and the supporters are not on board with your project. Now they're protesting for the third time. So we had one protest I was at, the second one I didn't attend because it was changed the model narrative, it's the wrong message. This protest on the 18th that we're uniting is real deal because it's Blueco out. It's Strasbourg and Chelsea. Now, I know for a fact, and you can explain this, Alex, to everyone that's watching, right? That they've banned me from the bridge. They've banned me in shadow ban on my channel because of what I do, right? Now, I know for a fact with Stevie G, who you all know, and big up Stevie G, he went to take a banner in and they took the banner away from him in Stamford Bridge.
He did.
And they said, come and collect it after. He goes back. Where's
He
my
never did.
banner? Oh, don't know where it is. Oh, really? They don't want bad publicity. All the journalists are in their pocket. Every tier one journalist, Fabrizio, Ornstein, Athletic, Jacobs, who's cousin relation to Goldstein, all right, who's a board member at our club, all right? Everyone is getting some sort of benefit, whether it's a brand envelope, whether it's ITKs, a sit down. You know, they're having secret meetings with YouTubers, Alex, you know, to control the narrative because it's now out of hand. And Sky Sports and Talk Sport and Simon Jordan, who you absolutely mudded, big up to you, yeah? You silenced him, didn't know what to say, yeah? Absolutely in the mud, Simon Jordan, Joe 90. But
go and watch that, by the way. That was on
protest
Talk Sport. Go and watch that if you haven't seen it already.
everyone needs to watch that because Alex landed the damn minerals. But everyone needs to understand the power of the protest, the power it has. Strasbourg Ultras have been landing it, Blueco out. They're getting banners banned. They're getting banned from the ground. They're trying to stop the Ultras getting in to say you've done the 15-minute silence or 10-minute silence. You know, powerful messages. But they're not bothered. Do you know why they're not bothered? Because Chelsea's all right. Now Chelsea's not all right.
Exactly.
Now Chelsea supporters are not happy. We're not happy with this project. We're not happy with the money spent. We're embarrassment. We're a laughing stock from where we were left off with Don Roman. So now we have the noisy neighbours, they'll call you, Strasbourg and Chelsea together. Everyone has to unite and fight now This is a no surrender mentality battle against the worst ownership in the history of football. They are the Glazers on steroids. They have absolutely decimated both clubs in less than what? Glazers have been at United for 20 years. These lot have been at our club, what, 4 years, 3 years at Strasbourg? And look what they've done to our clubs.
Yeah.
No fan culture, no heritage, no DNA, everything's stripped. It's their way. But the PR will keep the supporters on board. As long as the supporters buy into what we're doing and we elongate it, it's going to be fine for us because we'll just keep milking the club. And Younes, why don't you explain to Alex what we did with the ticketing, which is about fan culture, because it probably applies to Strasbourg as well. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah. So one thing I want to mention before I get into that is, so as you mentioned on your end, you had September and there was quite a lot of backlash, at least from other fans. Even the city of Strasbourg, you mentioned the mayor, the media, all of this. January, after Liam Rosenior left, seems like was the turning point. Everyone went, oh, and everyone all of a sudden had their lights opened and their eyes wide open to the situation. At Chelsea, it now seems like post Liam Rosenior and after everything we're seeing, say even from Maresca being, well, not sacked because he wasn't sacked, he walked. And I think that's also part of why many fans on our end had that light bulb moment as well, that something's not right here. So despite many people already having their doubts, it seemed like now everyone is now thinking, yeah, this is not good, and these lot need to go. And the one problem that we've had, like we've explained, is everyone has believed that they cannot sell for 10 years, which we've debunked yesterday, and it's out there. And like I said, there's going to be a follow-up tomorrow. But that's already out there. They can sell if they all agree between themselves. They can sell if they really want to. Now,
that's for sure.
Because of that, the protest is going to be really powerful, and having something that's never been done before, and having these two supporters coming together to protest against the same ownership on the same day, it's never happened, right? So this is going to be something incredible. And as you said, it damages the image, it damages their pockets. And I also want to stress and add on that, also damage the pockets by not buying any merchandise. Don't go to the mega store, don't buy online, don't do anything, right? The ticketing is another way for them to get money. And the ticketing, we went through this over a year ago, I think it was, with Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats being a reselling platform, which is Todd Bowley has majority share on all the Vivid Seats. Now, the weird thing is because the ticketing at Chelsea has now been digitalized and it now goes through Ticketmaster, Clearlake they acquired Ticket Evolution, which became Victory Live, which is a ticketing software, which works off of ticket platforms like Ticketmaster and can also integrate reselling platforms like Vivid Seats. So that's already something there that's, what is this? Because Chelsea have a big initiative, I say initiative, quote unquote, of we want to combat touting, selling tickets on the black market. But yet we have one of the owners, not majority, it's Todd Bowley, minority of course, but one of the owners who runs a reselling platform like Vivid Seats, where if you go on there right now, you can go and get a ticket for Chelsea Man United. No problem.
Yeah.
So this is another source for them to get their money no matter what. And this is why I also say for those that are going into the ground, if you're going to go into the ground and make your voices known, for those that don't want to go and leave your seats empty, great. And for those that are in the ground, don't go into the concourse and start buying drinks and flipping food and all of this madness going on, or merchandise. Don't do that, because all of this contributes. And the ticketing is a big thing. I don't know, at Strasbourg, I don't know if it's all been digitalized in the same way, but on our end, that's the situation. For your case as well, let us know if that's the case or not. But I want to also follow up and let us know what's the structure at Strasbourg. Because, as you've said, you had Mark Keller, who has been at your club for years, right? Even before Blueco, Mark Keller was the one running the club.
Yeah.
Post Blueco, he's still there.
Yeah.
As you've already outlined, he's not the one making the decisions.
We know who it is. You need to know.
Of course. Because
he gets nervous when you mention it.
it's but for your end, if you want to explain who is making the decisions there, and if I know people are going to have some insight in Winstanley and Stewart have involvement, but on your end, Strasbourg, is it all down to Winstanley and Stewart as well, or does it even go above them at Strasbourg? Because at Chelsea, we can say for sure it's not Winstanley and Stewart; they are puppets to this ownership. But I don't know, is it the same at Strasbourg?
Oh, well, yeah, it's exactly the same, and once again, the similarity is striking. The real boss, the only boss, is Bedard Ekbali, and is micromanaging everything. And I can explain to our audience because after this big crisis in September, at some point we had some negotiations with Mark Keller because it ended up in some kind of a stalemate. He didn't win. We didn't win, so it was like kind of complicated. So at some point, there were a few articles in the English press, and that time we got a phone call. So come on, guy, let's talk. And so we had like three meetings between early November and mid-December. Every meeting with Mark Keller and his top executives. Nobody actually from Clear Lake or Blueco, but top level at what is actually supposed to be the club management. And it was interesting. First thing that was interesting, first meeting, Mark Keller, he greets us and he says something that was unearned before. He says, guys, I admit that I am not going to be able to convince you. And that was a big difference because before that, he was preaching to us the Blueco gospel. I mean, we should have done that anyway. It was the good thing to do. We have so much money, blah, 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 blah. And he is so accustomed to things going his way that he has a problem with people resisting him and not buying his stuff. I mean, you see, it's difficult for him. But then he said, okay, I admit that I'm not going to be able to convince you, so let's try to find a way to coexist. And we did that. We did that in good faith. Whether it was a good decision to make at that time, I'll let anyone decide. With retrospect, I think it was a bad decision, but we tried with good faith. And we ended up negotiating, but very precise things on what was allowed, what was not allowed. We were speaking about flags, banners, flares, messages, and so on, because they have invented a whole process of censorship and so on. Yeah. And we tried to reach some kind of common ground. We didn't do it, but at some point we were close to it. And let me give you one example, which is very precise. At some point, we had a discussion about these small flags with Blueco out, that I'm sure you guys have seen on our side. It's a small flag that you can put in your pocket and carry yourself. So it's very small. And we were saying, well, maybe we can refrain at some times to display big banners, but our individual members, they gotta be free. They gotta be free. They can do whatever they want. So they have to be authorized to bring their Blueco out flag to the ground, to the stadium, and to display it. And at one point, Mark Keller said to me, well, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna bother you with that. That's okay. I don't like it, but that's okay. He said that to me in the eye. And wow. I think that was the second meeting. Third meeting, he comes and he says, no, I didn't say that. I said okay for a small badge or whatever, but I never said okay for the flag. And I was, come on, mate, I was there, you were there. And the only reason is because he went to his boss and he said, yeah, we've been discussing with the fans and we've reached this agreement. Well, maybe it's not the best we could get, but it's still something, and let's try. Please, Bedard, can you green light that for me? And Bedard said no. Because he's American, he doesn't give a shit about ultras and the way we do that in continental Europe. This guy is from the US. I don't even know if he cares about sport. Yeah, so he doesn't give a shit about the ultras, and he basically said no, I'm not having it. So right now we have this stupid system where they control everything that we bring to the ground. And we had an episode just like on Thursday, the game against Rijeka. The Cop Ciel et Blanc, which is one of the 4 organizations, they try to bring a small banner that says United Against Repression. Now, this banner existed way before Blueco took over. it's general. It's about what the government, what the football federation is doing to football fans and so on. They have brought this banner in dozens of stadiums all across Europe for 10 years. Nobody cares. Gets allowed everywhere. We go to Auxerre at the beginning of March, and suddenly, all of a sudden, the banner is banned. And they say, well, maybe it's Auxerre. I don't know why. And then they hear that, well, maybe that comes from the Strasbourg side. Then, game against Paris FC, banner doesn't get in once again. And so they try to bring in against Rijeka, and it's banned again. And at some point, they get an answer from the club. And believe me or not, the answer from the club is, yeah, we are banning that banner because you cannot be united against repression, because there is no repression. We are not repressing you, so we are censoring it.
Wow.
I mean, it's something between George Orwell and Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Exactly.
With a bit of catch-22 in between. I mean, it's absurd. And it shows you how nervous they are, because every time they do that shit, they are doing a Streisand effect. You know what the Streisand effect is? When she tried to ban that picture from a villa, and then it was all over the internet. They are doing that all the time. And same game against Rijeka, same fan organization, Cop Ciel et Blanc. They knew that this was coming, so they tried to bring a banner that only says freedom of speech, liberté d'expression in French. Who's against freedom of speech? Nobody is against freedom of speech. And it gets banned. A banner stating only freedom of speech, just the concept of freedom of speech, is banned. And they knew that it was going to get banned. So what they had is they had anticipated to have a piece of fabric and a bit of spray paint inside the stadium, and they redid it. And you can see that online. They have posted a video on. Maybe we can put the link as well in the video. They have posted that on their X account, and you see how they did it. And obviously, the second banner that they did it in a hurry, so it's not as nice as the first one that they tried to bring in. But that's what we have been trying to do all the time, is show to them the absurdity of what they are doing. And I mean, they are putting a lot of pressure and a lot of effort to try to ban us in such an absurd way that this reinforces us in the direction that, if we annoy them so much, then that means we can make a difference. And that's also why we are going to England, because we want to speak to the English media, to the English-speaking media, about this absurd system that we are faced with here in Strasbourg. I mean, and this is from our club. And to answer your question, Younes, that's where we see that nobody in Strasbourg is controlling anything. Because, I mean, we know the people at Strasbourg. We know the stewards. We know the security. We know the executives at the club. We know they wouldn't be doing that, but they have orders. And in the end, well, they have kids, they have a mortgage to pay, they need to fill the tank of their cars, so it's their paycheck at the end. On our side, the main culprit is Mark Keller, because he made a lot of money with that. He's one of the few people who made a lot of money in this story, because he obviously, when he bought us back in the 40, he bought us for €1, and he and his mates, they sold for 75. So that's quite a decent return on investment. And in a sense, it's well deserved. I mean, he worked a lot for that. But what we have said to him is, I mean, if he had said to us, well, didn't find any other solution, so I sold to Blueco, good luck, guys, let's see what happens, it would have been difficult, but okay, you know, that's life, can be bad. But the fact that he has been trying to lie to everybody, to do the PR and the narrative for Blueco, and now everybody knows that he's not doing anything at the club. I mean, when Rosenior was taken away from Strasbourg to Chelsea, he was actually on vacation.
Oh, right.
And they had to fly him back from, I think it was Marrakesh, because, well, at some point they needed him at the press conference, so just for the image, you know. Wow. It's just ridiculous. I mean, everything is going on. And Winstanley and Stewart, obviously, they are doing their show as well. They are the one picking the players and so on. But I'm pretty sure that Bedad Eghbali is micromanaging that as well.
Listen, I'll tell you for a fact.
Same story.
He's running the whole model. Gaff.
Operation.
He's got the whole Blueco's under Eghbali and Feliciano. And do you know what Feliciano said, Alex? He said it's more important to build business value than win or lose on the field. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what Eghbali said the only time he spoke publicly. He said, I want this American model, and I think we discussed that quite a few times. He wants this American model with franchises and so on, and in the end, the result on the pitch, they don't really matter. What matters is how much money they get in. And if there are tourists who are stupid enough to pay, I don't know, 300 and 400 quids for a game at Chelsea, then he prefers to make that money than with a proper fan. Obviously, he's never going to pay such a fee, but who is faithful to his club because it's his club. Exactly. And to answer your question about ticketing, we don't see that to the same extent here in Strasbourg, but it's one of our fears. Because we got this stadium which is brand new, which was paid not by Blueco but by taxpayer money, because it was paid by the town council, and they are trying to fill it, and it has been 100% or 93% filled for years, but right now the fans are wondering, well, I'm not sure I'm going to buy a season ticket for next year, because football might be good, but what's the point if it's to have our players being taken by Chelsea like in a minute, because nobody wants to cheer for a reserve team. I mean, no fan sees his team as secondary. I mean, it's just not possible.
There's no.
Don't worry as well.
There's no hierarchy. There's nothing.
After Rafinha's gone, at some point, don't worry, we'll be taking Gary O'Neill from you too. So
yeah,
we already know. We already know.
You know what? Yeah. On this, Finkelstein, director, brought in by Blueco, says it's fucking obvious we're building one of the best teams in the world. The journalist Oliver Holtz come out and said Chelsea fans know when they're being gaslit. Blueco is not building one of the best fucking teams in the world. Its project is already falling apart. Stamford Bridge is the place where the brains have left the building. It says, really obvious to who that they're building the best team in the world. Chelsea supporters know when they're being gaslit. Now, the ticketing is to eradicate the vocal diehard supporters, all right, which takes away fan culture, which means that you can control the environment, you can control the narrative, and they're making money off it. So that's why their main provocative is to do that, and they've had 4 years to do that, which is why our ground is it's turned into a library. It's ridiculous, right? Apart from away, but even away is a bit dodgy. But Eghbali, the suits and boots behind him is what gives him the ego and the power. But let me learn this one, Alex. Yeah. This is a fact. He's in a boardroom. He's not having a meeting. He's watching some Netflix series. Yeah. Eating some pizza. Yeah. He likes pizza, Alex. I'll say that to say the least. Yeah. All right. And what happens? The secretary comes in and says, Begdad, Bowley's on the phone. He says, well, I'll tell him I'm busy. His feet are up, shoes are off, and eating pizza. They don't get on. But it's an ego battle because Eghbali knows he's majority shareholder. So Bowley hasn't really got a say. Nor has Wiz and nor has Waters. They're just there to get their cash money. But Bowley's being used by Clearlake to be the face of the consortium for all that time until it's actually come to light by us exposing it that he's Eghbali. So Bowley's been mugged off. And Bowley owns Golden Globes. He's in Hollywood. He's PR. He's media. He's about ticketing. He's about stadiums. You know, well, hold on a minute. They're all aligned. Everyone's together.
And even we spoke about it yesterday. They need each other. And any financial decision that's going to be made at not the club, at Blueco, they have to both sign off anyway. So they have to keep each other on side. Whether they hate each other or not, they have to keep each other on side, which is why we got when they both attended the game. Not the Chelsea Newcastle game. I think
PSG
they were
game,
both
I
at
think.
Stamford Bridge.
PSG, I think.
Yeah, PSG. And all of a sudden we see them shaking hands and like everything's okay, but deep down it's not. But they need each other. So I scratch your back, you scratch mine, basically. So
Alex, respectfully, right? A project for football, yeah? Look at PSG's project for football. Look at Luis Enrique. They told us in the press that the ownership Blueco rejected Enrique. Enrique rejected them because he could see that they were intervening too much. It's a yes man model. The whole model is built by design. The layer cake is the dictatorship from the top, which is predominantly Egbali, and that applies to Strasbourg as well, clearly. Then you've got the yes men, Winstanley, Stewart, Joe Shields, Kinetic, and the academy. And then below that, you've got whoever their little rookie manager is, their yes man manager. And then you have their stock market of players. And the stock market of players is there for them to rotate as a club policy, advertise them. That's why you don't get any continuity in football style, identity. You're not growing towards anything.
Either of
Players
us.
are getting shipped out and
Yeah.
sold, bought, sold every single transfer window. And the journalists are feeding off it. The agents are having a field day because they're going, oh, my player's going to be at Chelsea for 1 year, 2 years, and then I'm getting my cash in and after 2 years to go because he's going to go to another club. And they're using young players. They're basing it on Brighton, who've never won anything in the history of football. You're being used as a guinea pig, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop at Chelsea. Like, this is not a model for football. It's not a project for football. It's a financial Ponzi scheme for private equity. And all of those investors that want their payout that didn't give a shit about football. And that's why I want to get 1958 involved. If I can, the 1958 with United, because we're playing Man United, I want them to attend with us so we can all unite, because it's also about football. 14 American owners in the Premier League. We've got 12, 2 more. And the whole model fabric is going to change. The structure of football is going to change in the Premier League. Like Bowley says, we need an all-stars game. I thought we had relegation. I didn't think you had relegation. I thought we automatically qualified for Champions League. I thought you played 4-4-3. So you're going to have all that Americanization culture come to our English game, to come to the French game. And it's got to stop. Like, we have to stop it. We have to save football as well as our clubs, but it starts with our clubs. If we can eradicate and exile Blueco and get them out, then that's one less major trend-setting ownership. They're a trendsetter as well, because Ineos are looking at them. Fenway, Barley's with Fenway. So they're all together. They're all in bed together.
That's for sure.
That's why they control the media. That's why they don't want the vocal supporters like us. They don't want ultras. They don't want banners. They don't want bad publicity. They don't want their image tarnished. Kill their image. Kill their image. And you kill their investors. They will walk. They will go. And they can pull out their money at any time. It's damaged the image. I've seen it for years. It's the one thing that they want to protect. And you say, Alex, and the fact that you're saying it, I know it, and everyone needs to understand that's watching. It's not just this protest. It's got to be relentless, non-stop. Blueco out, not results-based driven. You're not Tell everyone, Alex, you lot are not results-based driven. You couldn't care if you got relegated if it meant that these lot get out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and if we were results-driven, we wouldn't have been there when we were in the fifth year. Back at the time, everybody was joking at us. What are you guys caring about a team which is playing in the fifth year against Strasbourg, even the suburbs? There's some game where we took the tram to go to watch an away game inside our own city. At that time, we were not results-driven, and we are not results-driven anyway. Today, I mean, obviously everybody wants his team to win, that's for sure. But if it was only about result, you wouldn't be a fan your whole life. I mean, you would switch from one team to another. But just to jump to your point, obviously there's far more to it than just Chelsea and just Strasbourg. I mean, because you mentioned us being used as a guinea pig. And actually, they are doing many things with us, but they are also doing 2 things that are very dangerous. The first one is they are using us as a way to make sure that they can get some loopholes from the financial regulations for the Premier League. So basically, we are a place where they can stockpile wages, salaries. So for example, Ben Chilwell, he was going nowhere at Chelsea, but nobody was willing to pay his huge salary. So they said, okay, Strasbourg, you're going to take him. So Ben Chilwell salary in the end is not inside Chelsea, it is inside Strasbourg. Second thing they are doing is they are also using us to get some very young players, 16, 17 from Africa, for example, just so that they can stay for a couple of years in France. They can get enough points to get a work permit in England, perhaps then they can go to Chelsea. That's what they are doing. And I've been discussing that, for example, with English journalists. At some point I was saying to them, and at that point I was thinking that this was a good idea. I was saying, maybe other clubs in the Premier League, they should say to a Premier League, and well, come on, what Chelsea is doing is unfair, and maybe a part of the deficit at Strasbourg should be brought back into Chelsea's account. And what the English journalists told me was interesting. They said, oh yeah, that it's true, you have a point, but they're not going to bother to that. They are just, the other clubs, they are just going to buy another French club. And I remember one journalist telling me that, and the next week we hear that Aston Villa has taken shares into Annecy, which is a second-tier side in France. And so we have this same phenomenon where you have American owners buying English clubs, and at some point they will be in control of the Premier League. And then these clubs, they buy French clubs. So at some point they will be also in control of Liga.
Yeah.
And if you look at the dynamic and how it has changed in 3, 4, 5 years, I mean, it's frightening. Because can you imagine if we don't do anything to stop it? What will happen in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? It's obvious that they are, at some point, they are just doing this kind of salami tactics where they are everywhere. And at some point they will say, bang, that's it. We're doing this franchise model. Major league, minor league, no promotion, no relegation. And they will do their American stuff. I mean, it's obvious because it's what private equity wants. And very interesting, private equity is banned in American
in American sports. Yeah,
you can when you are a private equity, you cannot buy more than 30% of an NBA franchise, because the Americans themselves, they recognize that it's a dangerous system for a sport team, because a sport team is not any corporation. I mean, it has something more. There is there is a strong level of hazard. There is emotion. There is a local connection. So what the owners of the NBA or the NFL have agreed between themselves is say, we're not going to bring too much private equity in. But here in Europe, it's all open. So they are doing it. And this is a threat. I mean, the money they don't even accept on their side on the Atlantic, they are trying to put to us. And we say, okay, yeah, let's come, no problem. I mean, you have to defend ourselves. And as I have said many times, I have no problem with America and the US. They are fine doing their stuff. I mean, I understand why they do that on their side on the Atlantic. But here it's England, it's France. We have different traditions. We have different way of going to match. We see it from a different perspective. The pro leagues are somewhat connected to the amateur leagues, and you can still have some small clubs that climb the ladder and so on. It still exists, and it's important that it exists. And we wouldn't dare to go on their side and promote European sport. They would laugh at us.
Yeah,
but
true.
Why do we accept them from them? I mean, just everybody does its way. I'm fine with that. Let them do their franchise system and whatever, and we keep the football as it has always been. And the beauty of football that we have loved when we were kids, and I'm pretty sure that's when we got all hooked up, because we were kids and your dad or your uncle or your grandfather brought you in, you saw your first game and you were, wow, this is huge. And since then, that's where you've met so many people and so on. And obviously for you, you just don't come to a football match just to have popcorn and a beer and then you go back home. There's a lot more to it. It's in your culture. It's about the way you live inside the city. It's about the connection you have with a city or with a borough. Speaking about London or a region just like Alsace, where I come from, we have very specific.
Right? It's a way of life. And the one thing that I'd say that's got a massive correlation throughout football clubs, and predominantly our ones we're talking about, there is no connection between the supporters, with us right now, the manager, and there's definitely there's no sort of like trust with the ownership.
None.
There's no bond. There's nothing. It's like it's cut off since for me, when they sacked Thomas Tuchel, that was it for me. Like, we kept getting served up different managers and back this manager, back this player, and then they're sold. And it's like,
and bit by bit, more fans are jumping on board depending on what layer they think this is enough. And now we've reached a point where the majority have gone, this is enough. It's been building
up. And football's declining. The quality of football. You look at the state of it. I'm hearing a lot of people that are saying, lifelong supporters are like, I've had enough. I'm going to go and support my local club team.
We've got that problem hard,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, it's true. Sure. Alex, if there's anything else you want to add, feel free. Before we wrap up, any points you want to put forward, go for it.
Just please come on April the 18th. I mean, we will be there. We will be happy to discuss it with anyone. And just that's the one thing I want to say. Please come. We will be there. That's for sure. But we cannot do it on our own. I mean, we need to be united, both sides of the channel, Chelsea, Strasbourg, all together. And even if it's just, a march and it's just about what you only need is to walk, I don't know, half a mile or maybe a little more. It's not much. Maybe for people who live in London, maybe you got to take the tube for 20 minutes and come. We're coming from France. So if we're coming from France, I guess you can spend 20 minutes on the tube and come and join us for this. It will be very peaceful, no problem at all. We're not here to start a fight or whatever. We're just here to make a stand, make a statement, damage their reputation, and so that they see that we mean it. I mean, this protest is for real, and this ownership, they have to go. It has to cease, so that we can get back to some common sense. That's just it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And I'll say this: after this is all said and done, and I'm sure of it, the day will come. But when this is all done, you guys have a fan in me for life. I will buy a Strasbourg top, and you will find me now backing Strasbourg as my French team for sure. Because
you're welcome. Well, you guys are welcome at Strasbourg, whatever you want, obviously.
I think many Chelsea fans will feel the same, especially because you've made this sort of dedication to come and actually over to our end to help and assist and do things, obviously for your cause and for ours, but the effort to come from another country and mobilize in this way, I don't think it will be forgotten. So
Alex, that's something. We'll come. I'll come over and protest with you. Younes,
it'll be vice versa. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure.
Can come whenever you want, guys.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for explaining everything on the Strasbourg end. We appreciate it. I hope it's given a lot of you guys clarity. Johnny, much appreciated, and we'll be on here tomorrow as well to make sure we add a little bit of a part 2 to what we did yesterday, because there's some other things to add on top. So make sure you're there for that. Check out his channel as well. Alex, where can they find you?
What do you mean? Where
on socials? If they want to find you, just X.
I'm not a big social media guy, so you will see me on some media outlets, but that's basically it.
He's just a general.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, no, but you can follow. You can if you see the tweet from Not a Project CFC, the 4th Strasbourg supporters organization, have been tagged on X. And if you want to have some news about what's going on at Strasbourg, you need to follow those accounts. They are the certified accounts from the 4 fan organizations, and that's where you will get all the information from the Strasbourg fans.
I'll put a link to that, what you've just said, that post down below. It'll be the first link there. So go and have a look, and make sure you're following the Strasbourg accounts as well. And yeah, we'll wrap up. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And roll on the 18th. Make sure you're all there. Make sure you attend. If you can make it, be there. And it's all one message now, because like we've already proven, it can be done. It is possible. This lie has now been debunked. They can sell. So let's get them out. It's Blueco out.
Look out. Thank you, guys.